Hey world, being when we come back another video live. Uh, Gonna get into a little investment information tonight. I want to kind of take you back to what they call investment 101. Uh, DG, Minnesota in the house. We're gonna get into it tonight, family. And I know after this live, you're gonna be like, man, I wish I'd have knew this 20 years ago or when I was a teenager. How you think I feel every night? You dig? But no time like the present. Because remember, you watch my last videos, you live now. All right? What are you doing right now to get yourself ready? But the title, family, says, why do people invest in stocks and bonds? Okay. Hey, what's up, Alex? Family, it's not an accident that the wealthiest people in America, they don't work. Okay? They don't work. Okay? Why they don't work? Because they let their money work for them. All right? And how does that work? Investing. All right? And so what I want to get into tonight, family, is I want to talk about stocks. I want to talk about bonds. And I want to talk about the different avenues that people use to get rich. I mean, you see, if you're on the line a lot, you'll see how a lot of people say, I invested $1,000. I started trading with $1,000. I turned it to $1,000,000. Family, that's real. All right? And it's some certain technical fundamental analysis that these people that become rich and wealthy like this learn. And it's something that you can learn because if you can learn how to read and write, you can learn that. Okay? So what I want to get into first, family, is how do people get rich investing in stocks and bonds? First of all, what's a stock? Okay, and a stock is only basically a particular share that you can purchase. All right, no matter what company it is, and you actually become what they call a shareholder of the company. All right. Now, how does that benefit you? Well, if it's a company that you know is growing, okay, then if you bought that share at $2 a share, and the company is growing, and then 2 weeks later the company's at $10 a share, then you done made $8 a share on your money. So if you got 10,000 shares in that company, you do the math, all right? And so this is what they do, right? This is how they make their money. And so what they do, they invest in companies. They invest in equities. And there are three types, all right? You have what they call regular stocks. You have what they call ETFs, which are called exchange traded funds. Then you have something called an index fund, which is what is a bundle of stocks all in one particular fund, which will be similar to like a mutual fund. Some of you guys that have 401ks, you basically invest in your money in a quasi-index fund because that's what basically a mutual fund is. A mutual fund is a basket of particular companies in a particular sector that they track it. Okay? Let's say, for instance, if you need to check into that on your 401k to find out what is your money tracking, what mutual funds and companies are your money tracking, and it's only one or two different things. It's either going to be domestic companies or foreign companies, right? And so, how do you make money with that? Like I said earlier, if you have a mutual fund and it's tracking Tesla, Apple, AT&T, Google, Netflix, these are the top companies in America. And so when those companies are doing well, guess what? Your 401k is doing well, right? And that's how people make money. But if the stock market crashes, then what happens to your money? It crashes. So, like I said, there's no guarantees in anything, but you can alleviate your risk and make way more money than you lose with stocks and bonds. Okay, and so like I say, you have stocks, ETFs, and index funds. And family, like I told you before, I think it's way beneficial to you, way more beneficial to you that you handle your own money, right? And so an index fund is a perfect example of how you can be in control of your money opposed to, only contribute to a 401k. I'm not saying don't contribute to a 401k because remember, that's an additional stream of income for you when you retire. But I'm saying diversify. Don't only depend on that because you have other options. And one of the main options is what they call an index fund or ETF. ETF is an exchange traded fund. And these particular instruments, you make money. They pay dividends and they grow every year. How do they grow every year? Let's take for example the S&P 500. Okay, now family, you've been in the garden a while. You guys should know the S&P 500. We got the Dow Jones 30, we got the S&P 500, we got the Nasdaq, and we have the Russell 2000. We have four major indexes in the United States. Four major indexes. The Dow Jones, which is the top 30 companies in America. You have the S&P 500, which tracks the top 500 companies in America. You have the NASDAQ, which tracks only the tech companies. Okay, that's technology. That's the technology sector. Okay, and then you have the Russell 2000, which is 2,000 of the smaller companies. Okay, in America, which is like micro caps, small cap companies, companies that are like 500 million and under. You dig? In market capitalization, I mean that's how much the company's worth. Those are the Russell 2000. So there's a lot of opportunities to make money in the stock market with those four indexes, right? And so that's how they do it. They invest in a company. They wait till this company, especially if it's a company that pays dividends. Imagine if you have four companies, AT&T, Apple, four companies that pay dividends. If you have 10,000 shares in each one of those companies, imagine how much money you're going to be making every 3 months in dividend payments. And then, of course, if you're not spending the dividend checks, you're just rolling that over to the next quarter, and it just builds, where eventually, like, you get $150,000, $200,000 every 3 months in just dividends. That's why it's important. You have children, you have teenagers. Teach them the importance of investing now, especially if they already working, got a job. Okay, teach them this stuff, man, because they can start investing right now, stacking their money and investing in particular companies because they're young enough to ride the recession out. Okay, and then of course it's going to be dividend companies that you're going to have and investing in. Okay, so that's how people make money. I mean, it's not an accident. You're not going to be wealthy just working. You have to invest, right? And so we talked about stocks. That's how people make money in stocks. They invest in a company year after year after year and watch it grow. Or, which I suggest for those who are not very, active in investing, and so you want to just kind of put your money somewhere where you know it's going to grow, right? Index funds, all right? Bitcoin, that's the future. That's the future. Anybody that has Bitcoin investments right now, me personally, I don't have any Bitcoin investments because of illiquid value, because it's not very liquid. You can't really purchase anything with it. But now there are certain companies and whatnot that are taking Bitcoin as a purchase. So I'm gonna hold off on that. But I think the ones that got into Bitcoin early and have Bitcoin, I think they're gonna benefit well from it in the future. I mean, it's not an accident that they have a chip on your credit card and your debit card. That's a cryptocurrency chip, okay, which is basically cryptocurrency. And so, yes, Bitcoin will be viable. Now, will it be viable now? I don't think so. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's really high right now, but the difference between Bitcoin and stocks and bonds is that you can just purchase as many Bitcoins as you want based on the money, right? Like with stocks, if the stock is $55 a share, if it's $2 a share, then you can buy as many shares as you want at $2 a share. Well, with Bitcoin, they have the value of the Bitcoin, and you just have to purchase how much you want to put into Bitcoin. Me personally, I like to deal with more of the infrastructure of Bitcoin, which is blockchain. Okay, because you can have Bitcoin on a blockchain. These are the companies that actually mine. These are the companies that actually or blockchain is actually the infrastructure necessary to even set up that type of digital currency program. So I would definitely look into blockchain. And if you're investing in Bitcoin, it's cool. Not yet. Okay, not me, not yet. Uh, I just want to kind of come back tonight to kind of show you the difference between these different investment tools. Stocks, I promise you, do your research because dividend stocks, growth stocks, I mean, you can become wealthy just by just investing your money in those. And then bonds, what's a bond? Bond is basically just a loan that the government that's guaranteed to be paid back to you. That's why when you see that if you're watching Bloomberg, you're watching Yahoo Finance, you'll see where it says a U.S. Treasury 2-year yield, 5-year, and 10-year. Those are basically 2-year, 5-year, 10-year loans. Where if you put $5,000 in a 2-year Treasury, right, you're gonna get in 2 years all of your $5,000, but you're not gonna get a lot of return on it because, like I say, right now the treasuries are under 2%. And not like say in 2018, and not even like just 5 months ago, it was over 2%. So you're not gonna get wealthy just investing in bonds because you don't get that you don't get the return. All you're basically doing is protecting your principal, right? So that's why you want to invest in the stock market because the stock market's return on the average giving you 8 to 9%. So just imagine investing in the stock market year after year after year, getting that compound annual average of 8 to 9%. And sometimes it's 16%, 15%, right? But hold tight because right now is not a good time to invest because the market is overvalued. And see, this is the type of information you need to know when to get in and when to get out. The market right now is a bubble. I wouldn't touch it I wouldn't touch it, right? But saving your money, getting your capital straight, and then being ready to invest in stocks and bonds. And the only reason I say stocks and bonds is because of the diversification. You don't want to just have all your money in one company. And that's why I mentioned ETFs. Because ETF, you can get you a sector of technology stocks, and just purchase one ETF. That ETF is going to have Microsoft, Apple, AT&T, Google, Netflix. They're going to have that bundle of stocks and companies in that one particular ETF. And so let's say AT&T go down. We still got 6 or 7 companies in there that's going to keep your money high. You dig? DG, I'm thinking probably the next 12 to 18 months. Like I said, we don't know. We just know what the indicators are showing, and all the indicators are pointing toward a crash. And so when I know this, but the layperson don't know this. So when you look at the television and Trump is saying that this is the best economy ever, or they're not really talking about how the Treasury bond curve is inverted, or how the Federal Reserve just said they're not going to lower interest rates, or how the market capitalization to GDP is too high. See, this is information that every time there's been a crash, these indicators have been present. And all these indicators are present now. So it can only go so high before a crash. And just like in 2008, this was the same scenario. So I'm telling you, 12 to 18 months, I would definitely really encourage people to stack their check. Save your money right now. Okay? Because you're gonna have a great opportunity to invest in some great dividend stocks. And I'm gonna be coming back with companies after doing the fundamental analysis to say, hey, these companies may want to look at. All right. So, like I said, I don't want to be here long. I just want to kind of talk about the difference between stocks and bonds, how do people get rich or wealthy, because they invest in a market that's going to give them on average 8 to 9%. The S&P 500 on average 8-9%. Remember, inflation is 2%. So if you ain't doing nothing to build your money over 2%, then you're losing money. Okay? And don't ever invest in a company that you're not willing to hold for 5 years or 2 years, especially if it's a value growth company. Okay? Yeah, that's crazy, right? So, the family, oh yeah, before I get out of here, family, I want to talk about that, but I'm really discouraged right now because with all of this going on, they're not talking about how this market is going to crash, but they don't tell us about. And I don't know how many family members out there from the Windy City, not the Windy City, but the city of brotherly love. I heard about you guys out there in Philadelphia. They had 72 cops put on leave because of racist tweets and racist remarks they was making on social media. 2019, 72 cops. How does that work? All right, and it wasn't just in Philadelphia. They had other states that was involved. There's like 3,500 tweets and everything from cops, from police officers. They even showed the tweets. One tweet said, "It's a good night to choke somebody out." The other tweet said, "Man, I got to go ahead and deal with these animals." So, family, be careful out there. It's not an accident that they're throwing all this stuff out there now. Divide and conquer, fear tactic. Remember, just in Arizona last week, that one young melanated family was assaulted by the police officer out there in Arizona. And every time, what do we hear? The police commissioner come on TV and say, "We apologize. We don't expect this type of behavior from our police officers. They're on leave." How does that happen? DJ, I don't think it's in their nature. I think it's a culture. I think when those cats go and join the police department, you can't tell me that that's something that's not taught. Okay? Because it's nationwide. It's not one particular state. How are you having this type of brutality toward melanated people in every state? Okay, so it's just something that's not feeling it. But family, stay focused. Okay, stay in the now because remember, all this stuff is divide and conquer methods. Stay focused on building this wealth because building the wealth is ultimately what's going to get us to the next level. Because once you learn to build the wealth, then you better share with your family members, and so it's going to be generational. We're not going to do this stuff working a job. Okay, so do your research, family. Stocks and bonds, not right now. Okay, but that's definitely what you want to do in order to be rich, in order to be wealthy. Because remember, we are slaves. And why do I say that? I tell you, what person in their right mind will work 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a week, a month without getting paid? And then when they don't get paid or when something happened at accounting, because LB teach me, she said the comment, she was saying now, they had an accounting error and she didn't get her check. And it was like, well, you get it tomorrow. But she had been working all week, all day. You dig? And so right now you got to do something different, family. It has to be definitely an investment mindset have to set in because going to work every day and just think about that. You working 2 weeks, no money. A month, no money. All right. So family, I'm about to get up on out. I just want to come with a quick video about stocks and bonds. Is it hatred or is it fear? Do you? You know what I'm talking about? Because if you hate something, you want to get rid of it. But when you fear something, you don't know how to. You know what I mean? It's not an accident, So, well, family, thanks for joining me. I'm about to get on out of here. I'll be back tomorrow. I just want to come back, like I say, and show you how does people get wealthy investing in stocks and bonds. Compound interest. You're never going to get wealthy just working. Pay yourself first. All right, and make sure you pay yourself first with a percentage, not with a dollar amount, a percentage. So every month there's money coming out, and then when this market crash, bam, you'll be ready. Now I promise you, I'm gonna be coming with some great investment stock tips because, like I said, I've done the fundamental analysis on a lot of these companies, and I'm just waiting on them to crash. But believe me, if they're in my portfolio, I want them in your portfolio as well, family. All right. So in the meantime, between time, family, may the Most High decided to bring you joy. And being with us out of 5,000. DG, my man, stay up, buddy. And I'm out.